YouTube, it's Trev. This is going to be a slightly different video. Hopefully you find it entertaining. Because I'm going to talk about some kind of goofy things. But at the same time, I'm kind of dead serious. I was just having a conversation with someone a little while ago. We were talking about XRP. We were talking about Ripple and the lawsuit with the SEC, right? And I have other interests. Some of you know that I actually had another channel before this one where I talked about relationship stuff. Some of you know that I have written, and I haven't done this in a long time, I just haven't had time, but I've written a lot of Medium articles on various subjects, right? But some things that I'm actually very interested in are metaphysical kind of things, psychology. I dig Aristotle, and Plato, and I just love that kind of stuff, right? Religion, all of it. I like to throw it all together because I'm very curious as to how things actually work, right? And, this all ties into the Ripple thing, right? But when I was thinking, I wrote an article, a particular article on Medium, and it was like a 4 or 5 part article. I know some of you actually have read it, right? And I've received some feedback on it, and everybody seems to love it. So the article is about it's about reality. It's about how we create reality, things like that, right? So I'm having this conversation about Ripple and about XRP and about the lawsuit. And what I was saying is that we see a lot of things on the internet, on YouTube, on Twitter, on, whatever, right? About this lawsuit. And you would believe that we're just waiting for the verdict, that Ripple has this in the bag, right? That everything has gone their way along, with the trial, right? They've asked for certain things, they've gotten everything they asked for. Maybe the SEC has been ruled against in a lot of situations, right? During the lawsuit. But my point was, I'm always very aware of confirmation bias, right? I'm also very aware that you have to consider the source. Now, I don't want to, pee in anybody's Cheerios here. I just want to say that it's possible that the information we're getting about this lawsuit and about how it's going is coming from pro-crypto sources, right? People who are for crypto, who want to see it succeed and go on and be its own thing and whatever, right? And so it's possible that they're only highlighting or thinking about the things that seem to be working in our favor and maybe ignoring some of the things that maybe weren't in our favor. So there might be a lot of confirmation bias going on. Maybe we're not hearing the whole story, right? You don't know what the reality is until it is, okay? So we'd like to believe that Ripple's got this sewn up, right? I would like to believe that. I would love to believe that, because here's what happens, okay? We all of a sudden get the verdict, and Ripple wins the lawsuit. They are not considered a security as the SEC proposes, right? And as Matt Perry talked about in one of his videos not long ago, now case law is made, okay? It's established that in these circumstances, with exchanges, with crypto or whatever, they cannot be considered a security, right? Crypto is going to blow up if that happens. It's going to be crazy. There's not a reason in the world that the bull market won't start then and there, because people are going to jump in out of nowhere, right? People are going to buy like crazy. A lot of new money is going to come in. That's what's going to happen. Not my crystal ball, but I mean, I imagine that's what's going to happen. I can't imagine it would happen any differently than that, okay? So I've got this whole thing in my head about how it's going to be. But if Ripple doesn't win the case, you think things look bad right now, you're going to see things dive. You're going to see people jumping out and saving whatever they can, because the SEC already has other lawsuits on some other people. Now, listen, the SEC is only in the United States. This isn't Europe. This isn't China. This isn't, they can only dictate what happens here. So it's not like if they win this lawsuit, all of a sudden crypto is dead overnight. But it's also very true that a lot of the world does kind of follow suit with what the United States does, right? So we don't know. We don't know what's going on. All right. So anyway, back to my whole metaphysical kind of thing, right? I'm going to link this article. I would like everyone to please take the time to read this article. I don't make any money on anybody reading articles or anything like that, but I'll explain the reason that I want everybody to read this article. I want us all to be on the same page, right? Now, this article is about adamant expectation. Okay, that's basically what it's about. It's about deliberate manifestation of reality, right? This is crazy stuff. This isn't crypto stuff. This isn't whatever, right? But honestly, and this might be above some people's, interest level or whatever, but honestly, it can be applied to kind of anything. And I'm not going to, it sounds like woo-woo, voodoo kind of weird stuff, right? But read the article, because a lot of what I talk about is very, very based in science, in kind of proven science, right? Maybe you've heard of Schrodinger's cat, right? And this was an experiment done by this scientist Schroeder. Actually, it was a mental experiment. It wasn't actually an experiment that was done, but basically he said that if you took a cat and you put a cat in a box, also in that box would be a vial of poison with some molecular decay mechanism that eventually will break down and release the poison out of this vial, killing the cat, right? But you don't know how long it will actually take for it to decay and release the poison. So, because there's a cat in there, because the poison is in there, but you don't know whether or not the poison is already released. You don't know if the cat is alive or dead. And so, the theory is both realities, or both situations, both possibilities currently exist. The cat can be thought of as alive. The cat can be thought of as dead. Both are equally correct, because you haven't really checked yet, right? So in quantum mechanics, there's this thing called the wave function. You have to just stick with me. I know this is getting crazy, right? But there's this thing called the wave function. I'll keep this very simple. And the wave function basically says that everything that we see, everything in the world, everything in reality, you, my chair, the wall, everything that you see is in a quantum state of flux. In other words, it's particles and atoms and whatever, and they're blinking in and out of existence, right? They don't actually exist in the real world the way we see them, the way our brain interprets them, right? And in fact, when these things are not being observed by a consciousness. They are in that quantum state of flux, right? And they don't actually, or what's called a wave function, and they don't actually collapse into a solid form that we can recognize that is in our reality until somebody actually looks at it, until it's observed. And that could actually be, by a camera or by a person or whatever. But even the camera, it takes a person to actually go and observe the video or the picture or whatever, right? So until a consciousness observes it, it's a possibility. That's all it is. Everything in the world is just a possibility. So this cat, right in the box, it's in a state of possibility. And until you actually open the box and look in the box, consciously observe, does that wave function of possibility collapse into one reality or the other, right? So, and I'm going crazy. Trev's lost his mind, right? Is what you're saying right now. Stick with me. So, thinking about XRP, and I'm thinking this is the reality that I want. The reality that I want is that Ripple wins, right? And XRP goes crazy. All of crypto goes crazy. The bull market starts. All of the things that I'm invested in, everything starts going crazy. We all start making money. We've been in this bear market way too long. It's time to get out of it. That's the reality that I want to happen, right? So you've probably all heard of the law of attraction. A lot of things like that, right? About manifesting your reality, right? But I mean, really, if you think about it, what's prayer? If you're religious, right? What's prayer? Prayer is putting a request out to, well, in this case, some sort of deity or whatever, right? And with the expectation that you're going to have that prayer answered, right? Well, if you remove the religious part of it, the law of attraction basically just says that you put your desire out to the universe, right? And the universe, if you're on the right vibration, right, matches that vibration and brings you what you're vibrating. So if you're depressed and you're upset, if you're mad, if you're whatever, that's the vibration you're putting out. Those are the things you're going to get back to you, right? It's not until you change your attitude, change your thought process, change your vibration, that you can change your circumstances, okay? So if you expect, right, that Ripple is going to win this lawsuit, right? Not only expect it, imagine it, like I did, vividly, right? Imagine seeing it on Twitter or on, whatever news thing that you read or whatever, right? Seeing Ripple wins, you know what I mean? SEC shut down, whatever, right? Imagine looking at the charts. Imagine seeing all the green, right? I don't know if you look at crypto bubbles, whatever. Everything's green. Everything's huge. Imagine the FOMO, right? Everybody's diving in. All these things that you've been holding on to for so long, right? That have really gone way down and you've lost a lot of money. All of a sudden, you're back to even. And it's going up even more and more and more, right? Really be in that moment, right? That's getting on that vibration. That's the adamant expectation. And that is, I truly believe, how you kind of change reality to be what you want it to be. Now, if you do it as an individual, it's a little tougher than if you do it as a group. Okay. So, again, this article that I wrote, it would take you, if you're a fast reader, you could probably read this article in about a half an hour, right? Great thing about Medium is that it has a function where you can press play and it'll read it to you, okay? But it goes through this whole process about why this all makes sense. It goes through the science. It gets into a lot more detail, right? But not in a way that it's a above your understanding. I break it all down because I'm not a scientist, right? So I break it all down just like I do with everything in my videos. I break it all down to how we can understand it, right? Everyone who has read this article has praised me on it, and I would really love for you to read it because it will explain what I'm talking about. If we can all get on this, all get on the same page with this expectation and take a few minutes a day, right? To just imagine what it's going to be like in this bull run, to just imagine what it's going to be like when Ripple wins, right? And to visualize what you're going to do. Maybe the house you're going to buy, maybe the bills you're going to pay, maybe visualizing your checking account, right? And how many zeros are going to be on your statement, right? If you can take 5 or 10 minutes and maintain that, right? If we all do it together, I don't know. Maybe it's possible. Maybe it's possible that that actually works and it changes things. But to try it doesn't cost anything, right? You can read in the article about some experiments that have been done that kind of prove that this is actually true. It is the way it really works, right? Whether you're going to believe it or not is up to you. But anyway, that's what I'm talking about. I'm saying let's all get together and let's have this expectation of the bull run. Let's bring it. Let's bring it to us, right? I don't know how long it'll take, right? The more of us that do this and the more you hold on to it, supposedly the faster it happens, right? But what have you got to lose? What have you got to lose? I know I'm going to be doing it. Matter of fact, I've been doing it for a little while. I've done this before on my own, and it works, right? I wrote this article, and people kind of, it's entertaining, right? And I wrote it to be entertaining, and I wrote it in a way that it's kind of like, what if this was true? What if that was true? It's almost like a joke, right? But the reality of it is I'm dead serious about this, right? There's the part of it that's like, what if Trev's right? What if that's really, because I put a bunch of things together, right? What if that's actually the way it works? That it sounds plausible. It's possible, right? So read it. I'm going to link it. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about this video before you even read it. You might tell me I'm crazy. Or you might actually have studied this stuff yourself and actually understand how it works, right? But like the video if you could, so a lot of people see it, right? But read this article, and I don't care if you take some time and read it in sections or whatever, but read it. And after you read it, come back to this video, or even on Medium, you can leave me comments. But I get them quicker here on YouTube. So if you can, come back to the video and let me know what you thought of it. And let's give this a shot, right? Let me know if you're going to do this with me. All right. I'll talk to y'all later. Ciao.